it's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia, Bo, Sheila, and Zach kicking it cooler than 3 penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo, Sheila, and Zach coming at you with steps and things flapping their wings on Birds with Friends.
All I know is Zach said he has a game where he'll don't read both 7,000 and I said, I'm in. Let's go. Let's do it.
And so the purpose of...
That's what I needed was not to get at least one more reader. Say hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. And welcome to Birds with Friends on a Friday afternoon, late morning. Zach, Marissa, and Sheil. And Casey Wolf, podcast debut. Say hi.
Hi.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. We don't know either.
I'm with you. I'm with you,
Fits
Case
right
man.
in, right?
Yeah, lots to discuss. We'll talk about the San Francisco 49ers. We'll do a Crow Thine Enemy. We'll do our Owl You Know draft. We'll make our crystal ball Eagle predictions. And, we'll find out how Sheil's doing. Sheil, how are you?
You know, my wife told, I don't know if Casey can chime in on that. Casey, do you like pumpkins?
Yeah.
You do?
My wife told me that the kids are interested in carving some pumpkins this year. Let me ask you this. Do I look like a man who knows how to carve a pumpkin?
Casey, do we have a pumpkin upstairs?
Yeah.
Is it a jack-o'-lantern? Yeah, my answer to that is Rachel and Casey carved that before I even woke up one morning, so I'm with you. It's not on my skill set either.
So we know who to go to for tips. Outstanding. I mean, I can guarantee, I know we've got a lot of sports Indians watching and listening. None of them have ever been involved in any type of pumpkin carving. Z-Berm, how about you? Has that been part of any type of family tradition?
Okay.
Not family tradition. I've done it in the past, not very well.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm not as like a family. As a kid in school, we used to do the pumpkin. Yeah, I remember, and we would toast the pumpkin seeds.
Wow.
Did you do that?
No.
Oh, we used to do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Put some salt on it. Yeah. That was a good time.
Yes. Yeah. Not a big fan of pumpkin seeds.
Oh, wow.
I like the
Coming in
pumpkin
hot?
seeds.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, why don't we get right to it? Let's bring in our man. It's almost the end of the morning, so we got to get him while it's still technically morning. Let's bring in the Stone Cold Newsman. Let's send it over to Zach Berman.
So it's 11:40 a.m. right now. We have a hard out at 1 o'clock, and I don't know if we have enough time in the hour and 20 minutes to get through all the Eagles' injuries. That shows you the state of the Eagles' injury of the situation at the moment. I have the report from yesterday up in front of me right here. There are some updates today. We just finished speaking to Doug Peterson. Deshaun Jackson, who has not practiced all week, will not practice today, Friday. They practice in about 20 minutes. He will not practice. So that means he's not practicing the whole week. Still, Doug Peterson continues to say he's optimistic about Deshaun Jackson's status. I suppose we'll see 90 minutes before kickoff on Sunday night. The Eagles at practice yesterday, I was there, only had one wide receiver on their 53-man roster, which is now 52 players, actually practicing. And that was Greg Ward. But J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who has been absent with a calf injury, he will be back at practice today, at least on a limited basis. Also, John Hightower, who missed practice yesterday with an illness. He's among a group of players who have had illnesses, including Jason Peters and Jamon Brown. The players who have illnesses are back in the building, and it won't affect their status for Sunday night. So you can expect John Hightower back at wide receiver. You can expect Jason Peters back at left tackle. Miles Sanders, who has been limited with a glute injury, he is going to play Sunday. So nothing to worry about there with the pain in his butt. And then Trevor Williams, who has a rib injury, did not practice the past 2 days. We'll see what his status is for the game. That's important to monitor, of course, because the Eagles don't have a starting outside cornerback right now. So That's one to pay attention to.
It's funny
Other
that
than
that's like that's an afterthought.
yeah. Other than that, Alshon Jeffrey, who had been limited in practice, he was a DNP yesterday. Apparently, that was part of their plan, that they were going to pull him back some. The reality is, until we see Alshon Jeffrey on the field in uniform, I think we need to operate under the assumption that he's not ready yet. So we'll see what happens with that injury. Lane Johnson, who was limited in practice yesterday, nothing to worry about there. It seems they're just managing him. He'll go. And Jack Driscoll, who when we spoke Wednesday night had the illness, he returned yesterday. So that's the injury update. But otherwise, from what Doug Peterson said, really there's not much more that needs to be reported. They want to get their screen game going, of course. He took a moment to kind of think about what the offensive identity of the team is.
This was very funny.
Yeah, and he came up with running the ball and play actions. Right?
Oh boy.
Am I summarizing that correctly, Bo?
I think, hold on. I actually think, let me pull it up because I think Brandon Lee Gowton tweeted out the full quote. So yeah, here's what he said. He took a second and was like, didn't really want to answer it. And then he goes, I would define the identity as using the strength. Number one, you've got to go off the strength, I think, of your quarterback, right? And then you build your plans around that. So obviously the identity, you want to be able to run the football, play action pass, the QB movements, and then, as Les mentioned, the screens. You've got to mix up the screens effectively in your system. And you want to be physical up front. That goes without saying. You want to be dominant there, control the line of scrimmage and all that. And that's where the run game comes in. But I think you're seeing that. You've seen the identity a little bit kind of rear its head up in these games. But then it goes back down because we haven't been as successful on first down. Been in too many second and long and third and long situations, which gets you out of who you are a little bit as an offense. So.
Oh my God, that sounds exactly like the answer. I mean, I think he's being honest. Yeah, I think he's right. Yeah, that is the identity. It's absolutely garbanzo beans. Their play action game is terrible. Their QB movement game is terrible. Their screen game is terrible. And they're trying to mix it all together and nothing's working. So nice, honest answer. Then that really is a problem. I mean, I do feel like a lot of, the best coaches, and I'm sure I bet Doug was asked this during the Super Bowl season. I bet he was able to easily answer that question. Like, you shouldn't have to hem and haw really with that question. And sometimes you get cliches with it, and that's fine because, a lot of teams are trying to do the same things, but usually there should be like a 2-sentence thing about here's sort of the foundation of what we want to do. I have no idea. I think probably in the Super Bowl season was probably like, well, we're a spread. We're a spread West Coast hybrid, and something like that probably would have started it off, and then he would have gotten to some of the other things. But oh man, running game and play action, where every time Carson Wentz runs play action, he turns around and there's a defender breathing in his face.
Well, what struck me as I was finishing charting the offense yesterday, and you talked about this on Wednesday, Shield, just, like the lack of identity. They don't know who they are. They spent the first 3 quarters of this game doing all of this like pre-snap and at snap motion, Greg Ward running across the formation to absolutely no effect. Like it has nothing to do with what they're doing. Like nobody's buying it on defense. It's not like
the Bengals didn't have to take a potty break when Greg Ward went in motion.
And then the one time they wait till the third quarter, the one time he gets the ball, he gets tackled immediately for a 6-yard loss. Yeah. Like, because he's not fast enough to beat the defensive end around the edge. Like it's like the kind of thing where they've seen that like pre-snap at snap motion is like analytically friendly, but that's because that's built around what those offenses do. It has nothing to do with what they do on offense,
right?
And so it doesn't help them. Like they're doing it just for the sake of doing it.
I agree.
And the other thing that I will add with the news is that in a typical week when the opposing team's quarterback doesn't practice, one would think that would be like a big story, are they going to face Jimmy Garoppolo? Are they going to face Nick Mullins? It hasn't really been a big story here because the Eagles are a mess. And for those who watched that game last night, they saw
the ultimate insult.
That Nick Mullins was featured in the promotion. And then interestingly, and I'm not saying like the Eagles defensive players were like talking trash, if you will, but it's more what they say to us is often the message that they're getting in their meetings. And everything that we've asked these defensive players when it's come to the 49ers passing game is that it doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. They're all about the run. It's just stopping the run, stopping the run. It's as if like the 49ers don't pass, whereas they have the number 15 pass offense in the NFL. They were good at passing the ball last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Eagles should go into this game thinking like all you have to do is stop the run, because they can hurt you through the air as well.
Well, it's funny. Let me pull up what Darius Slay said yesterday, but it was the same thing. He's like, yeah, no offense to Jimmy G, he's good, but like it doesn't really matter. I could play quarterback back there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That should have made some headlines. I mean, he might not be wrong, but still, it's something. Well, it is a little bit wrong, because 2 years, I think it was the year before they made the Super Bowl. So that was 2018. What do you got there?
This is a polar lemon. I haven't tried the lemon in a while, so let's see how it goes.
2018, the 49ers offense was not, like if you looked at all the efficiency and DVOA things, they were not ranked highly. It wasn't like their offense was good and their defense was terrible. So Kyle Shanahan does need players. Every coach does need players. Chip Kelly found that out the hard way, of course, but they need someone back there. But yeah, Mullins, like, he's played. He's not impressive. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought. I watched him last week, and it was just, he looks like your typical backup quarterback, like the guy that comes in a preseason game. But that's the strength of their coaching staff. Like, they're not asking him to do too much. They are going to run the ball. They are going to have screens and end arounds, and they are going to use play action and bootlegs. And he does know how to operate the offense. He had to play a couple of years ago for an extended period of time. So it's not like he's just getting his feet wet here. And they scored on 7 of 8 possessions last week, as I mentioned before. So they scored on 7 of 8 possessions. Their one possession that they didn't score was a missed field goal. They had over 400 yards of offense. They had 29 first downs. So, I mean, really, the Eagles defense should not be like crowing about anything. And that, that's pretty interesting that they feel like they don't have to worry about the passing game.
Here's what Darius Slay said. He said, the question was, how difficult is it to prepare as a corner without knowing who the quarterback is? And he said, not really, because the fact that it's such a great run team, not disrespecting Jimmy G, because he's a great, talented guy, but they do a great job. That O-line is their powerhouse. They can run that ball. You go back to when they played Green Bay in the playoffs, they rushed for 300 yards. You could put me at quarterback and I'd be doing the same thing. But Jimmy G is a great talent, and his backup guy is a great talent too.
I was listening to Doug Peterson's conference call with the 49ers media, and he was talking. What's that?
As you do, yeah.
As one does.
Well, and he was discussing. He got asked a question about Nick Mullins, and he said it's like the 49ers have 2 starting quarterbacks. That's how good this player is.
He's like, and I've got none.
He also called being a backup quarterback a thankless job in this league. I don't view that as a thankless job. I actually
like
view
the
it
most
as a great
popular
job.
guy. Yeah,
exactly. So that was interesting. And then one other Nick Mullins note, and this is courtesy of our friends in San Francisco. I believe Matt Barrows wrote the story, correct? That Rich Scangarello was the one who was credited for finding Nick Mullins. That he was the big advocate in and to use the word from that story, he championed Nick Mullins to John Lynch and to Kyle Shanahan.
I remember that when the Eagles hired Scangarello doing research, that was like his claim to fame in San Francisco. Was I feel like I was too mean to Scangarello last podcast. I don't know. I feel like I took a couple. I don't know. I took a couple cheap shots. I've never met the guy. Everything I've heard is he's a very nice guy. So I might have been out of line there, but certainly we can question his. I know in comparison to what Bo says on every podcast, it was not out of line. Maybe compared to my own baseline, I felt a little guilty afterwards.
I'm not so sure that's fair.
Tom McAllister, DFOP, said that he liked this. It's become like a Wednesday tradition where I just come on and just like a WIP host, just going crazy. Feels like it's a throwback to the Rich Kotite and Ray Rhodes days when he would turn on the radio after a game. So, I was heavily influenced by that era. So I take that as a compliment.
Well, you've been holding in these takes for like 3 days by that
true.
point. So you're like ready to explode.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
All right. Well,
quarterback. Well, let me. I have a little cornerback nugget. So we've talked about this before, but great story by Joe. I don't want to champion like every athletic beat writer during this podcast, but I don't know if you guys.
How about we throw someone under the bus at the same time?
Okay, yeah.
How about Connor Hughes for making us late?
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's a good one. But Joe Person, the Panthers beat writer, had a story this week about Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas, after their week 2 loss, goes into Matt Rule's office and says, "Yo, Matty boy, we need to connect more as a team. We're doing social distancing. We're wearing masks. We're doing all the protocols, but we're not connected. We don't have the chemistry." He was saying, when I was with the Eagles, you're not going out there playing for yourself or for the fans. You're playing, those are your guys next to you. You don't want to let them down. We need to foster this kind of culture. And Matt Rule said, "You know what? I think you're right." They hold a team meeting. Players, Teddy Bridgewater's going in front of the whole team talking about his life story. I forget. I think there was another player talking about how a family member had cancer and what they had to do to get just to get to the NFL. This big bonding experience through 2 meetings. They go out and they beat the Chargers. So how about Rasul Douglas? Yeah.
And by the way, for all the criticism that Rasul Douglas might have taken over the past 3 years, like he was on the team for this particular situation that the Eagles are in now.
Yeah,
he served
exactly.
decently. He was not. He probably was never going to be a starting cornerback for them, and that's why they cut him. But as a reliable backup, I thought he was fine in that role. He's on a rookie
contract. He's inexpensive.
Exactly. And he's like, to that point, like he is a good guy in the locker room.
Exactly.
His enthusiasm at practice always jumped out to me. I mean, every drill he was bringing energy. I don't know what he did to Jim Schwartz, but man, Jim Schwartz or Howie Rosa, probably Jim Schwartz, I would think, because he could never. And then we all saw, the story last night. Big Bows coming up with the big plays.
I know, but what about those slippery hands? He had 2 pick sixes he should have had.
What do announcers say? That's why they play. That's why they play defense.
That's why they play cornerback.
That's why they don't play wide receiver. But jumping those routes, Big Bows getting Vic Fangio his first
probably
win.
says a little bit more about Sam Darnold and Adam Gase than it does about Big Bows.
I disagree, but we can agree.
On the topic of former backup cornerbacks, Toucan U. Am I using this correctly?
Very nice.
Name. The last Eagles defensive turnover.
Oh wow! Have they not had one this year?
They have not. The only
turnover. Wow.
The only takeaway this season was on special teams.
Oh,
and they did not have one I don't believe they had one in the postseason game either.
Well, I thought this was such a dumb explanation of when they're explaining
was it your boy?
My
Sidney
boy?
Jones intercepting Sidney Jones intercepting Daniel Jones last year.
Yeah.
Week 17,
big flex.
Yes.
Okay. When they were talking about the Darius Slay trade, and again, Darius Slay has been fantastic. But one of the things I had heard from within the organization was this is a guy who can take the ball away. And I'm thinking, if you're an analytically based organization, like the randomness of interceptions for a cornerback, the amount of variables that are in play, like, is this really why you're getting him? Is because you think he's gonna, like, how many turnovers do you possibly think he's gonna add to your defense next year? So I always thought that was a bit puzzling.
Not to mention, he was asked about this the other day, and he goes, "Well, yeah, it's a little bit harder to get interceptions in man than zone because you're not watching the quarterback."
He's all right. He's my favorite Eagle. I'm in favor of the trade. I retract everything I've said about it. This guy's amazing.
He had this really interesting nugget that I had never thought about.
I thought this was very interesting.
Yeah. So he said that a big difference between college football and the NFL is that they don't have the white stripes on the ball in the NFL. When he was in college, he used to be able to see the white stripes, and that's how he would get interceptions. So he said he would get a lot of PBUs his rookie year because he'd be looking for the ball, but he couldn't see the white stripe. It took him some time to get used to it.
He said that was the biggest adjustment as a rookie was the no stripe on the ball.
One of you should write a story about this. Get on some conference calls with other. That would be a fantastic story. Do other quarterbacks think that? I've never heard of that before.
I never heard. Darius Slay's been terrific.
When they're 0-5-1, jump on some conference calls with other defensive players around the league. Like get 5-6 cornerbacks and ask them about that. I think that would be fantastic.
Okay. Thanks for the
All right.
assignment.
All right, Bo's not interested. Zach, you're
I am
in on-
very- I am very
Zach
interested
recognizes a good
Yes.
story, you know,
Yes.
a good story idea.
Also, I recognize that.
I'll
we're
do
probably
it. I
gonna
don't want to
have-
steal it from you.
I'll do. We're probably gonna have 2 months of stories where, or
Yeah.
like 2 months of weeks to fill where we can't keep writing about the injuries. So
Or
I'm,
the
I'm
Eagles.
all for any creative. Yeah, yes, all for any kind of creative stories we can find.
There you go. I meant to follow up, Sheila. You had texted us before the episode the other day that there was a quarterback. You were thinking that if you were feeling spicy enough, you might swap for Carson Wentz. I have a
Listen,
guess as to who it was,
Who
but
do you think it is?
I think it might have been Justin Herbert.
If I was like, you know, if I was like 2-3 makers marks deep, or you know,
Ooh,
five,
whiff,
five,
taking a whiff, a little,
five,
top
six,
shelf.
you know, five, 6 beers in, and you know, Tommy Telesco give me a call, and I was Howie Roseman, and it was my team was 0-2-1, and I was just feeling really down in the dumps. I feel like Justin Herbert has not gotten nearly enough buzz for his first 2 games. I've been
He
impressed
lost to
with
the
this guy.
Panthers.
Well, he did. Yeah, he lost to the. So what? Would win lot QB wins this year? I mean, it's his
Well, you
second
also
career-
like to tell us that rookie quarterback performance doesn't matter, but you know,
Yeah,
let's
it
hear
doesn't.
the argument.
It doesn't, but I feel like I like what I've seen through 2 games out of him. He makes like 4 or 5 wow throws every game. He doesn't seem flustered. He doesn't seem like it's too big for him. He doesn't have a great offensive line, but he's still making plays. So listen, I'll drive the Justin Herbert bandwagon. And it's funny because his coach Anthony Lynn can't say anything good about him because the team punctured Tyrod Taylor's lungs. So you can't say like, oh, Herbert's looking great. He's taking over right now, because you might be facing a lawsuit or something. So it's been funny. Lynn's like, yeah, he's okay. He's leaving a lot of plays on the field. The guy threw for 300 yards and he just found out he was starting 5 minutes before the game. So it's been a funny situation.
Just imagine if he had OTAs.
Yeah, really.
Coach Flynn says, "Get out of here with the white stripe business." He's rolling his eyes.
Wow.
Okay.
And we also have someone who says, "Forgot to tweet it, but Shields' pronunciation of minute lowered the value of my degree from Penn State."
Yeah, I'm sticking by it. I mean, really, I'm in on that minute. I'm using it that way forever.
All right.
It's funny because when I've read the word in articles in my head, it is always minute. Like I don't
Well, of
read
course,
it one way and then, you know, thought that it was a different word or something that I was pronouncing. I stand by it.
Okay. All right. Let's get to Crow Thine Enemy, Dr. Kapadia. Let's talk first about this 49ers offense. They are supposed to get George Kittle back. As we've talked about, Nick Mullins, a quarterback, but it doesn't matter because Darius Slay could be back there and it would all be the same. You know, this is the offense the Eagles were trying to steal from a little bit, or at least potentially the influence that Jeffrey Lurie wanted to implement into this Eagles offense. Why is that? What makes Kyle Shanahan the favorite of tape munchers everywhere?
What's Debo Samuel? Is Debo Samuel practicing this week?
He's on IR.
He's on IR.
No,
I thought there was a chance I thought there was at least a chance he could play. Anyway, we can look that up. But they're banged up. They've been hit hard by injuries. I mean, well, I guess you're asking just about the offense, but Brandon Ayuk played last week. I thought he had some juice. I was not a big Ayuk guy out of the draft. All right, Bo's taking a whiff.
That's a good rushing
there.
touchdown he had.
I mean, it was beautifully schemed. There were literally 3 blockers to that side, and 2 of them were just looking around. They had nobody to block because the defense was so confused. So they schemed it up last week. That's what they've been doing. It is run heavy. It's not all, you know, this wide zone, outside zone. They mix in a variety of runs, which we saw in that Packers game last year in the playoffs. There is play action. There is bootlegs. There's creative screens. It's all about yards after the catch. So they don't take a lot of shots downfield. Not to say they don't take any, but if you look at all those numbers, it's all short, intermediate throws, a lot of stuff in the middle of the field, and then pick up yards after the catch. So that's how they've sort of catered the players that they've added. I mean, George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL. I would be interested would Darius Slay match up with George Kittle on third downs? Does he have that kind of physicality to
That's
him?
interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know who else really is this would be a game where Malcolm
Nate Gary.
Jenkins. Somebody in our chat wanted to know why you protected Nate Gary in the expansion draft we did. But really, the Eagles are hard. Do they have 25 guys you really want?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was doing it from what I thought the Eagles would do, and my guess is they would do that given the way they talk about him. But yeah, I mean, it was hard to pick the 25 guys. There's 16 guys you want to protect. I mean, I protected Nate Herbig.
Oh, man, that's totally justifiable.
I know, and it was a no-brainer.
Raheem Mostert out. Tevin Coleman out. So it was
former Eagle great.
Jerick McKinnon is in there. He is involved more in the passing game. Jeff Wilson. I mean, listen to these names. This team's got no talent. They've got. I mean, George Kittle will play. George Kittle didn't play last week, but it's George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk and Nick Mullins. And mediocre offensive line is this offense. So
I do have to say, watching that game back, I watched the quick cut. I was not as impressed as I was expecting to be. Like that game was 6-6 until the end of the first half, and then you're going up against a Joe Judge team that wants to quit on the season already. So it didn't. It's not like they. I thought the score was a little bit misleading. I know they scored on all those drives, as you said, but. I'm not shaking in my boots about the 49ers offense right now. The Eagles defense is bad, but
you should listen to the names I just mentioned. You shouldn't be, but there's always the possibility that they just, what Sean McVay did to Jim Schwartz a couple of weeks ago, that's absolutely in play here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But, they don't have, Robert Woods and
I smell
Cup.
an Eagles pick out of. Okay,
I'm already pot committed to until Elijah Riley's on this active roster. I'm not picking the Eagles, but
I like that. I like that after watching the Eagles for 3 games, a 420-yard, 30-plus point, 29 first down performance. You're like, they had to wait till the second half to really get
Well, you know what it is? It's the because you talked about it, no shots downfield. It is the super powered Bog offense.
Yes.
That's what they have.
Yes.
They have accomplished what the Eagles are forced into having to try to do.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Zach, any thoughts on the Niners though?
Yeah, so I liked what I saw from Brandon Ayuk. I think that offensive line probably deserves a little more credit than just being average. I mean their tackles are legit.
That's just because McGlinchey's from Philly.
Mike McGlinchey, a Philly guy, Penn Charter High School. And then left tackle Trent Williams. And then when George Kittle's in the lineup, they're obviously a lot different. Jordan Reed's banged up. He did a fine job filling in. But I would definitely pay attention to that Kittle matchup against Nate Gary. Nate Gary says they have a good plan for him. We'll see.
Pray.
And he sort of said that with a wry smile, as if there's some special concoction they've come up with.
I mean,
let's see how this works, Nate.
To be fair to Nate Gary, he's going to be across the line of scrimmage on play action by the time the ball is thrown to George Kittle. So I don't think he's going to be part of the plan there. Well, that's interesting. Maybe it is Darius Slay then. Third down, red zone.
Maybe.
That's a good point. That's it.
I think my guess is it'll be a lot of Jalen Mills. But
that's the plan he was smiling about?
I don't know. Could be. Do you think we'll go ahead.
Jalen Mills blitzed 9 times last week.
Wow. Yeah, it did feel blitz heavy, especially in the second half. It was every play they were going after Burrow and getting after him. I think there were a couple where Mills was in charge of the tight end or the back, and then when that guy stayed into block, he blitzed. But that's interesting. I mean, theoretically, yeah, it should be kind of I'm joking about Mills, but if you have a guy who's a former cornerback who switched to safety, this would be the type of matchup to match him up with the tight end, right?
Right.
So
I am curious to see what Schwartz does package wise in this game, because we know the Niners play 2 receiver sets in either 10 or 12 or 11 or 21 or 12, more often than almost anybody else. So does he put that heavy nickel out there with TJ Edwards and Crayvon LeBlanc? Does he want 3 linebackers on the field? The Eagles are, this is what you would expect. They are much better stopping the run when they have 3 linebackers on the field, but their split of stopping the run in that versus in nickel situations is, I think, wider than anybody else in the league. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see a lot of base in this game. That's not the way they've played in the past, but You know, if it's just Ayuk and Kendrick Bourne on the outside, given how thin the Eagles are at corner, maybe it's Strap on the outside, and then you're keeping 3 linebackers on the field. I don't know.
And now, do you buy Jim Schwartz's explanation that the changes they made last week, having more TJ Edwards in nickel, or having TJ Edwards in nickel and having Cre'Von LeBlanc in nickel, was based on the matchup, or do you think that was based on performance of the other guys?
I think both. I think they do get a little bit too cute with the matchup stuff sometimes. But I also think, like, we all saw it with our own eyes. Like, Strap is playing better than Roby Coleman now.
I don't understand. Like, Strap and LeBlanc and Roby Coleman are similar type players to me. Like, is one of them? What's one of them better at that the other isn't?
I think Strap is a little bit more physical, and Roby Coleman's a little bit faster. And you see the way they use it. You see the way they use them, because it has been Roby Coleman and Duke Riley, and then TJ Edwards and Cre'Von LeBlanc. So I think when they are more worried about the run, they have that heavier nickel out there.
Yeah. So Schwartz's explanation was that playing against Joe Mixon last week, they really wanted to try to funnel things to the outside. So they were much more focused on that. So they wanted bigger guys on the field. But I would play TJ Edwards over Duke Riley regardless of the matchup.
LeBlanc is more physical. I don't know that I've seen anything to suggest Roby Coleman has like this big edge in the speed category.
Yeah, I agree.
Or a coverage or anything like that. So, okay.
I think that's right. How about the 49ers defense? Not really the side of the ball that is focused on very much, but there's some buzz about Javon Kinlaw as a rookie. Former Quackatology, Senior Bowl Quackatology winner for the DFOPs. And, what can you tell us about the defense, Jill?
Well, no Richard Sherman, no Nick Bosa. And so cornerback is certainly a question mark for them. They've got, I believe it'll probably be Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett, who it feels like has been in our lives. Like, I feel like I've moved to like 6 different places, and Jason Verrett was part of my life in the first one, and he's still part of my life. So I don't know if he's really been around that long or not, but I know draft Twitter seemed to love him coming out of college. He's had a bunch of injury issues. Who's doing
Marissa's scrolling her phone, not paying attention.
No, I got an alert and I clicked it and it took me to a video.
Can't blame you.
Much more interesting than Jason Verrett talk.
So
there's
Doug
a little
was
bit of
asked
news
about,
going on today,
No idea what you're talking about.
People are worried about Bo getting fired for that. I thought that's why he brought Casey on, that maybe it would keep him in check a little bit to start the episode.
It's a good idea.
Doug was asked about Verrett on the San Francisco conference call, if he was a player who, going back to Doug's time in the AFC West, that he had to like game plan for. And Doug gave a very diplomatic answer, but I just wonder in Doug's mind if he's like trying to think back to his old Chiefs Chargers, and trying to think what his game plans were for those games.
Yeah. So, their secondary is not great. Their linebackers are very good. Fred Warner is outstanding. They've got Quan Alexander alongside him. So those are both three down guys who can cover and also play the run. And up front, like you mentioned, Kinlaw and Eric Armstead, I would say, are the 2 guys you have to watch out for. Scheme-wise, it's not the sort of Seattle cover 3. I think of all like those Seahawks disciples, I would say Saleh maybe has done the best job of mixing it up and tweaking his scheme. It really started last year where they were playing a lot more 2 deep, a lot more cover 4 quarters to mix in with that cover 3, but they are heavy zone team. So at the very least, this isn't a game where the Eagles are just going to have to be trying to rely on those one-on-one matchups against man coverage.
So Lane Johnson has an interesting matchup here against Armstead. I asked Lane about it the other day because a lot of these top left defensive ends Lane sees, I don't want to say frequently, but they're matchups that he knows. Armstead's not a guy that he sees very often, and it's a different type of DN, 6'9". Oh, I'm sorry, 6'7", 280, 290 in that range. So a bigger, more physical one. Had a real good year last year. But in asking Lane about him, Lane also said Kerry Hyder is a player who they really need to pay attention to, and said Hyder is tough to block as well. And then you mentioned Kinlaw, so that's a really good defensive line. Even though they're down Bosa and Solomon Thomas. I believe Solomon Thomas is on Shields' expansion draft roster.
No, he's
right?
on he's
No,
on
he's
Mike
on
Santos.
Oh, he's on Mike's. Okay, I saw that one.
Well, you mentioned Joey Bosa, and by happenstance, once again,
I mentioned Nick
Nick Bosa. Nick
I
Nick
mentioned
Bosa,
Nick.
rather.
Yeah.
The wheel of tweet Schreiker has landed.
Oh, don't get yourself fired.
Nick Bosa?
This is live.
I looked at his tweets, and there's just a couple ones that are worth passing along. Build a wall and crime will fall is one. One is from Donald Trump. The fake news is showing old footage of people climbing over our ocean area fence. This is what it really looks like. No climbers anymore under our administration. Of course, another one. To any of the pundits or talking heads that do not give us proper credit for this great midterm election, just remember 2 words: fake news. And then finally, Trump is an absolute savage. Best foreign policy ever. I like talking about him like he's a walking bucket or whatever. So there you go. That's this week's edition of the Tweet Trekker, and the game will also be called
that was Nick Bosa, that was
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa, okay.
And then this game will be on Sunday Night Football. So if you guys are curious about some of the likes from
take it easy.
The people on the broadcast, there are things like, sadly, I've lost a few friends along the way that have decided they don't like my politics because of what I'm fighting for. Perhaps I'm learning that they were never really friends in the first place. And to everyone saying the view is one view, I am out there fighting every single day of my life into my 8.5 months of pregnancy for conservative Americans, conservative ideals and principles. Every single day. You want to criticize? Come out here on the front lines and join me. Of course, being on The View, the front lines. That's nice. And then finally, from James Woods on 9/11, hashtag never forget, hashtag Benghazi. We will always remember Benghazi.
So last night's game, does anyone want to give kind of 30 seconds on last night's game before we get
I was thinking about, anytime there's a Sunday night game, I feel like I usually pick a Eagles player. Who will Chris Collinsworth be focusing in on? I haven't given this much thought here. I mean, offensively, it's really tough. Is he going to have to go to a Jason Kelce or something on who
I think it's going to be?
Who?
It's going to be Greg Ward. It's going to be Greg Ward, fighting to get open on 9-yard catches. Look at this leverage that he gets. That's what I think. That's my guess.
So I'm going to go with
Kelsey's a good guess.
Well, maybe it's that Lane Johnson matchup that Zach's talking about.
And by the way, Lane was not great the other day.
He looked very fatigued at the end. I thought in overtime he was getting crushed in in the fourth quarter.
And he gave up. There were a couple of pressures he gave up early in the game too. And that we talked about that Bengals defensive line is not good.
Line. Yeah, I would agree with that. So all right, so Lane Johnson or Jason Kelce or Greg Ward. Zach, who is your? I'm gonna go with Kelce. Bo goes with Ward. Who is your player?
Who it will actually be is Darius Slay, because if Slay's not on Kittle, it'll be Slay's shutting down Kendrick Bourne. There's nothing there for him.
We'll see about that.
So while our listeners think about that, let me tell you, this episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon. I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, unhealthy food, and realized I basically can't eat anything anymore. I'm 34 years old. I can't eat like I was back in college. So here to the rescue is a cereal that has 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. There are 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry. It tastes amazing. Honestly, too good to be true. It's keto friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low carb, and GMO-free. I tend to have a sweet tooth, so you look at the cocoa one and the fruity one, even the frosty one and the blueberry one. They all satisfy that sweet tooth while having 0 sugar in it. Think about that. So just go to magicspoon.com/birds to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code BIRDS at checkout to get free shipping. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. It's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/birds and use the code BIRDS for free shipping. We thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring this podcast.
Magic Spoon might be a nice, emotional eating option for Eagles fans. Yeah, I think you might need that on a Sunday night. So maybe you want to get that order and see how quickly it delivers. But posted my picks against the spread column today or yesterday on The Athletic, and the lines I use, of course, are from DraftKings Sportsbook. Week 3 of football is in the books, and now it's time to review the tape and get ready for Week 4. There's no better place to get in on all of the action than the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of Week 4, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100 when they bet on any team. That's right. You can place a $1 bet on any team, and if that team wins, you cash a cool Benjamin. This is a great week to do that because you've got a couple 13-point favorites. You've got the Ravens, I think, are 13-point favorites. I forget I think the Rams are 13-point favorites against the Giants. So you can really cash in there if you're looking to get it. And don't worry if football isn't for you. DraftKings is giving all you basketball fans a 200% profit boost on any basketball market once you sign up. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TOSS when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during Week 4, bet $1 on them, and win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code TOSS during sign-up for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Profit boost, terms and conditions, and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. This has nothing to do with DraftKings Sportsbook, but it's very important. How's your pillow game? This is not an ad read or anything. We're just struggling as a family with pillows, have been, I would say, for like a decade. I want the hotel pillow. And I know people have sent me links. Then I go to these big hotel chains. They've got their online stores. They've got 400 different pillows. I don't know which one to get. I want let me give you what I need. Okay. Obviously you want a soft pillow. I mean, no, I don't want one of those rock hard firm ones, but I don't want the head to sink too much on the pillow. You know what I mean? I want to lay the head down on the pillow, a little bit of give, but I don't want to sink. I don't want my ear to feel like it's touching the mattress. So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I like a very sinky one on top of a harder pillow. So I get the sink, but then it's on top of the pillow below.
I do 2 pillows, but only the head only gets one of them.
Interesting. Well, I will say that we have recently had a pillow addition to the bed. Well, this is not going to help you very much, although it might. This is like the very big, like U-shaped pregnancy pillow for Rachel that has helped. And she was saying there, she was like looking up the reviews, and there was one of them that said it was from a guy. He said, "I just saw how everybody said it was so comfortable. I bought it. It's delightful." So maybe that's what you should go for.
I have napped using that before. All right, okay, you give me something to think about. Zebra,
it looks
Marissa,
very funny.
Any pillow?
My pillow gripe is, and I don't know if this is something that Marissa can explain to me, but we have like the decorative throw pillows on there. I don't understand the purpose of a pillow that you're not using. Like why have a pillow that you're not putting your head on?
Yeah, you can't use them because not all of them can be washed. So if you use them, like that's gross. At least you could take your pillowcase off your pillow and wash it. But and then the decorative pillows, they have to be put somewhere nicely when you are actually going to sleep because you can't just throw them all over the floor. There's a whole science to it, but it makes the bed look so much better. You can't tell me that when the bed's made with the decorative pillows, you're not like, wow, that looks really nice. I want to dive in there.
I'm okay with it on a couch.
The bed making process.
Yeah. I would say the thing that has been plaguing us pillow-wise has been the covers keep just falling off. We got a lot of like loose coverings on the pillows.
The pillowcase? The pillowcase covers?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
they're
odd.
just like slipping off every now
That's
and then.
very strange. Okay.
Are they the
I don't know
right
what's
size?
going on.
Yeah, you got.
They must not be. Maybe our
You
pillows
got to
are
make
shrinking.
sure that the pillowcase size matches the pillow size.
Well, thanks.
right.
Thanks for that.
We got a comment in here. Slept with my wife's pregnancy pillow last night. It was delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There
So
you
no
go.
one's got to. If and I just wanna. You go to a hotel. The pillows are on the bed. It's always a nice.
They're sort of
fluff.
like, but they're sort of thinner, like side to side, right? They're a little bit
No,
like
I think they're regulation size.
stumpier.
Yeah, a little size. I mean, the key is little sink, not too much sink when the head hits the pillow. Okay.
I think you got to
that's a
mix
good-
and match.
Listen, my
Jill,
wife and I,
quick-
we've been struggling with this for like a decade, and I'll just impulse buy like a pillow. I did a week ago.
Just
It
one for
cut-
yourself, not
it
for
cut-
her.
Well, we just get one to start off with because we know we're probably not
Oh.
gonna like it. We get it, we take it out. Well, maybe this has some potential. Last 2 nights, I haven't been able to sleep. Last night, 2 a.m., I wake up, I chuck the pillow, I get the old pillow, put it back in, and the pillow thing remains unresolved. So now I got to return that pillow and try something else.
Now, do you do like a pillow between the legs or like?
Gotta do that.
on the
Yeah,
arm and-
What?
I'm old for the back. You don't do it. You sleep on your side and you put a pillow between the knees. It's great for your back. Unbelievably comfortable. I can't sleep without that. You don't do that?
It's not an every sleep occasion for me, but it's about a 50-50. Yeah,
Listen,
so it
that's,
just depends on comfort.
That's
I have no problem with the move.
You're too young. That's a mature, a mature person's pillow situation. So what? You just do one pillow, Zach?
I sleep on what's there, so there are 2 pillows.
Concussion is a concussion uncle. He sleeps on a concrete slab.
If I'm in the bathroom on the floor, I'll sleep. I don't care. We'll sleep anyway. He's like the coach. We'll play him in the parking lot.
No, I might need this because my wife's biggest gripe about me is I don't sleep enough. She wants me to sleep more, and I'm a big like if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm taking the phone out. I'm checking the headlines.
Are you crazy? Oh my God.
Yeah,
Hey,
and then
you're
Matthew-
young. You're young. Talk to me in like
Did
2
you do
years.
that? Did you do that last night, Zach?
I was up at 5 this morning, and I wanted to get to work because I had my Eagles download up, and instead I was scanning the head, or not. I was reading these stories, so it was more than scanning. And I think, I know Marissa sent us a message this morning that shared a sentiment that I had, which was, the political reporters, I imagine, might have, if they slept, if they took Advil PM last night, they might have felt the way I felt when Doug Peterson.
It's probably best if I don't give my thoughts on political.
Yeah,
reporters.
I think
no,
that's
not
right.
even that.
All right.
Not even that. I'm on political reporters.
Oh, okay. That sounds intense, but all right.
Some just vile members of the ecosystem, in my opinion. Okay.
Wait, Shu, I had a quick Sunday question for you. So for full disclosure to our loyal listeners, viewers,
Keep it on. Keep the clothes on.
Yeah. We are not traveling to this game. This is the first Eagles game that I will be covering from a couch. Now there are a lot of
pillows
reasons
or no?
for this, but, whatever's there.
Okay.
But it's a primetime game, and usually when the Eagles have a primetime game, you get to watch the 1:00 games, but we're still at the stadium, 4:00, 5:00. It's very rare that we have a full Sunday at home before we're working, unless the Eagles play Monday night or Thursday night. We have it. So as a national reporter, what's your recommendation? Is it Red Zone? Are you clued into a game? Do you have the second screen in front of you? What's the best way?
What games are on in our market? This week? I don't know. So what I do is I do Red Zone on the TV. I usually do Eagles on my first monitor here, and then I do whatever other game is on my other monitor. That's if the Eagles have a 1:00 game. So that way I'm keeping an eye on the Eagles. I'm taking notes on the other games, but I do a big rewatch. Now that I don't have to write my big column till Wednesday, I spend all the Monday catching up. But, and that's easier because if there was a great game that I didn't watch, then Monday, I can pay a lot of attention to that. If there was a game that was over in the third quarter, then I'm not wasting my time live. So that is generally how I do it with the 4:00 games. I usually am focusing in on one and then also paying some attention on red zone. But usually there's like between 3 or 4 games on in that second window. So you don't need red zone is not as useful, I find then.
What's the I'm curious too. What's the delay situation? Like when I'm at the game and I'm let's say there's a big play or there's an injury and I might tweet it out, I'll get fans sometimes who write back that they haven't seen it on TV yet. Is the delay frustrating?
I think they're probably streaming or cord cutting, but you should do what I do. No checking. You put you don't check Twitter. You don't check your text messages. You get caught up in between the 4:00 game and the night game. You see what you missed if you want to, or, I really don't, I don't know that I get caught up on Twitter at all. I might, look at a little bit. And if I see someone's account that I want to catch up on, I do, but you're not missing anything. It's really the best way to go.
How were the birthday parties yesterday for both the Bermans and the Kapadias?
Fine.
It was very nice. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you asking.
Okay. Just checking. All right, let's get to the Al draft, in which we will decide who we will be talking about on the Eagles if they win.
We got to hustle. We got this. You guys got a hard out at 1. The pillow talk was important.
Yeah. Zach, would you like to lead us off?
No, you can.
Okay.
You can.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna burn my Wentz here.
Okay.
And I think if the Eagles win this game, it's going to have to come from Carson Wentz turning things around. And I do think that this is a winnable game. I think this is the most winnable of the next 3. And there's no the Niners defense is just fine. There's no reason that Carson Wentz can't have a good game here if he doesn't turn the ball over and just hits the throws that he's been missing. There's a chance for this offense to do some things. Now, they're going to need to be more creative than they have been. Who knows who's going to be lining up at wide receiver? But I think there's a chance that, on Sunday Night Football, it's Collinsworth and Michael's talking about what a gutsy performance it has taken from Carson Wentz to get this Eagles team into maybe even first place if the other 2 teams lose on Sunday. Who knows? There you go.
So I'll go second then. If the Eagles win, I'm going to go Zach Ertz. This is a game that I really think the Eagles need to feed Ertz. Like, he should be double-digit targets. As much, I was going to say as many Ertz, as much Ertz as possible. Because really, what they have elsewhere is not very strong. We don't know Deshaun's status, obviously. But there's a chance that you're looking at a wide receiver core that is John Hightower, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Let's assume Quez Watkins is activated. Quez Watkins, Deontay Burnett, and Travis Fulgham, okay? And then your number 2 tight end is Richard Rodgers, all right? So in the passing game, obviously you can get the running backs involved, but I think they need to feed Zach Ertz. He's had the fewest amount of yards and catches through his first 3 weeks as he has since 2016 when he was fighting an injury. And this is a week that he needs to be the top target. Now, obviously, San Francisco knows that, and I imagine they'll respond accordingly. But I think if the Eagles win, it's a big Zach Ertz game.
All right. This is a tough one. Well, I will say if they win, I forget, do we have a limit on how many times we can say Fletcher Cox or no?
I think Carson's the only limit.
It's up to you. It's up to your discretion.
I don't think I've used him.
Can you look yourself in the mirror? Yeah.
No, I try not to do that, but I would say, I'll go with Fletcher Cox. I mean, if they're going to win this game, I think the formula is pretty simple. It's the defensive line dominates. They showed signs of that last week. I think they really can have an edge there, but it's not just pressure isn't enough. You need sacks, you need forced fumbles, you need forced turnovers. Maybe he hits Nick Mullins' arm and it leads to a turnover, something like that. So he's somebody I think certainly we could see Chris Collinsworth sort of drooling over if he's having a big game and they put together this montage where he's just dominating up front. So
you do a good Collinsworth.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe after the game.
Okay.
I will tell you the one play that I guarantee the 49ers will have a explosive play, potentially touchdown on in this game is Y Leak, which is this play that, it seems like everyone in the league runs. It scores. I swear you put on Red Zone, it scores like every other minute, where it's a fake run to like the right side and everyone's run blocking and George Kittle, or, they might do it to like a Ross Dwelly just to switch it up. He pretends he's run blocking and then, he sneaks out, goes to the other side, is wide open. The Eagles got burned on this against the Rams, I believe. So if like the Eagles stop that play, you know what? I'll just get everyone pastificios. If the 49ers run that play and
all of our listeners,
no, all of you three. Well, no, I'll get Marissa something else. But I will get all of you a lunch if the 49ers run that play and they do not get like an explosive completion or a touchdown on it. That's how good I feel about it. You don't even have to get
Sounds
me
about
anything
right.
if it doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, I promise I won't.
I mean, defense is tough. Like, I could name any of the linebackers. I named Nate Gary, but like, am I going to name Nate Gary every week when they play an offense like this and they're just going to toy with him? All right. Yeah, go ahead. Well, I did a mailbag this week and there's a lot of questions about Nate Gary. So the fans are already annoyed by him. I don't know that he's always put in great spots. I don't know that it's his fault really that, maybe he shouldn't be out there, but whatever, they're going to toy with him and there are going to be many, many situations in this game, I feel like, where he's going to be in the wrong spot, running backwards while they're giving up a first down.
Okay. Zach?
That's if they lose, of course.
Yeah, so I was going to go Nate Gary and I lost, and I guess I don't know if people are going to be harping on TJ Edwards because I think Nate Gary is kind of the face of that linebacker core right now. So I'll go Jalen Mills in a loss, okay? Because
they're both my guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
because
other guy I had written down also. Because obviously a big tight end game, but also knowing what this fan base is like sometimes. If the Eagles are losing by, let's say like 2 touchdowns and Jalen Mills makes a play, let's say he has a sack on a blitz and he pulls out the LSU dance. I could see like WIP Monday morning starting with how can he dance? How can he dance at this moment? And Jalen has never been short of confidence. Fans have pointed out that he'll have the finger wagging after giving up a play, the next throw after giving up a play sometimes. So I think that if we're going with the literal definition of this game, who are they talking about after a loss? I can see Jalen Mills being someone they talk about after a loss. I like that.
That's good. I will take another obvious one that feels maybe cheap, but if the Eagles lose this game on offense, someone who we'll be talking about, I mean, the guy who has just been terrible through 3 games. And if he is as bad in this game as he's been in the other 3 and it's on national television, I think it's fair to say the calls for replacing Jason Peters at left tackle will get even louder. And I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you got to see at some point you have to see if Mailata can play. You've also got Jack Driscoll. He's just bad, and he's hurting the team. These are like every drive he's given up a play that's cratering the drive, basically. And Doug was asked about him this week, but it wasn't like a constant prodding.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it happens again this week, that's like all anyone's going to be asking about next week is, are you getting enough out of Jason Peters, especially if it's not like a terrible Wentz game.
Now, quick question there with left tackle is that, let's say this continues to crater. At some point, I imagine you need to cut Jamon Brown and promote Prince Tega Winogo, right? Like why is Jamon Brown on this team if he's not playing and they're 0-5-1? When you have a left tackle who has traits, I'm saying.
Well, I mean, no one's trying to take Winogo. Like, you only need to promote him if you're worried about losing him. Especially if he's not going to play, right?
True. Fair enough.
And Jamon Brown's theoretically still learning the offense, right? I don't know.
But when you're talking about left tackle,
give me a break with that. I mean, it's learning the offense.
Yeah,
I imagine
Winogo. He's just not very good.
Yeah, like you mentioned Jack Driscoll. Jack Driscoll wasn't the left tackle option at Auburn, like Prince Tega Wanogho was. Jack Driscoll's been on.
But Jack Driscoll was
side.
drafted ahead of Prince Tega Wanogho, so he's.
But I don't think as a left tackle option.
Well, not necessarily. Not. I don't think he was. Not a left tackle option.
Okay.
I think he's a possibility. And then if the Eagles win on defense,
is it my turn? Did I?
No, it's not your turn for a while.
Oh, what the hell is this?
You get two, and then you get two.
Yeah.
Wait, I already did two. Okay.
Yeah.
I zoned out once it got to the Jamon Brown.
I feel like if the Eagles lose this week, we maybe need a new Friday segment because no one's going to care about these games.
Who should be fired?
Anymore.
That's all anyone cares about.
Yeah. Or we can just talk about other games. If the Eagles win this game on defense, I will take. How about Malik Jackson blowing things up inside? Maybe Fletcher Cox gets the attention, and it's a big Malik Jackson game.
He's pumped about being drafted on Team Kapadia.
Yeah,
I think that's right. All right, is it my turn now or no?
No, I am up here.
All right, just point to me or something. I mean, when I need to pay attention.
Well, what we usually do is call your name, so just listen for that.
All right.
So if the Eagles lose this game, I'm focusing on a guard here, and I'm debating between Herbig or Pryor, and I'm gonna go Matt Pryor because
he's not
trying
good.
to think off. No, and off the top
I
of my
like
head,
that. It's just funny because your last explanation on Mills, I was like, that's perfect. I could just see it, like Angelo's opening him up Monday morning, and now I'm picturing Angelo opening up Nate Herbig. It wasn't this team.
Because I'm trying to think in my head. Kinlaw's coming from that side. All right, so I'm picturing one play in particular where Kinlaw's the left defensive tackle. That means he's going up against Matt Pryor here at right guard. And Javon Kinlaw is a good athlete. Matt Pryor is a big guy. I don't know how good an athlete he is. So give me Matt Pryor in this loss, and maybe more of a reason to talk about Jamon Brown next week.
Can't wait.
All right, Sheil, now you get your last two picks.
Oh, I do. Okay.
You have both sides of the offense.
Okay. I like this one. Actually, now looking back, I wish I would have used this from one of my first picks, and I'll do a big flex here and give a shout out to Ike Reese because he brought this up during my WIP hit yesterday. But after he mentioned it, I thought, you know what? He's right. And I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I mean, this is empty the kitchen sink type game. You are 0-2-1. You are 7-point underdogs. Your wide receivers are garbanzo beans. You haven't been able to do anything offensively. If you have worked on any type of Jalen Hurts package, now is the time to unleash it. You're probably going to want to run the ball a little bit in this game. So maybe they come up with something creative. Maybe, he comes in and they think he's going to run the ball and he unleashes one deep. Maybe they have a bigger, Jalen Hurts package and he's running the ball and the 49ers aren't ready for it. And he's picking up first downs left and right, and it adds some juice and some excitement to the offense. So if they win, I think they're going to have to do something creative. And I will say Jalen Hurts ends up being a big part of the game plan.
I think that's a good one. And I will say, if he's not going to be a part of the offense in this game, what's the point of the package at all? And the flip side to that is one of the reasons I don't like these packages is because by him being out there, the defense is on alert for a trick play, right? So there's not really an element of surprise. That's all.
So you think maybe he should dress up in Carson Wentz's uniform and see if the refs notice?
No, but if they had these cool creative plays that they had in their bank, they should have been using them with Greg Ward before anyway.
Well, that was Dallas Goedert's point though, when Goddard was talking about the first time we saw Hurts in week 2, that there was so much attention being paid to Hurts because why else is he on the field? And that freed Goddard up. I think it was a 9-yard reception.
Right.
But
so
I agree.
It was a good second round pick to free up a 9-yard reception.
Yeah, I thought that was a little overblown too. I mean, I don't know that the defense, sees Jalen Hurts and needs to take a potty break because they're so scared about what's about to happen.
Although the time I would have used Jalen Hurts was the 2-point conversion last week. I would have put Hurts in there He was good on the goal line at the goal line.
God, do you imagine Carson Wentz like doing that whole drive? Then they put in Hurts for the win or lose 2-point conversion, and it gets stopped. Like what Carson Wentz's reaction would have been?
I feel like Cincinnati would be so flummoxed in that situation.
Maybe you might be right. Yeah, that would have taken some cojones from Doug Peterson.
From the Philly special guy, right?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. All right. If they lose, I mean, really, you can name anybody who's going to take the most heat. I think who will take the most heat would probably be the head coach and the general manager, to be quite honest. I know we can't name them, but especially in this game on a national stage when you're throwing out Hightower and Greg Ward and these guys, and you're trying to compete with the defending NFC champs. Like, I don't know. I feel like I know there's been injuries, but I do feel like Howard Roseman could come under criticism there. But also if Kyle Shanahan's carving up the Eagles defense with Nick Mullins, and on the other side of the field, Doug Peterson can't move the ball with Carson Wentz, then that's going to be be a pretty interesting, what's the dichotomy? Am I using that one right?
Yeah, you got that. It's a dichotomy.
Not dichotomy, right?
Right.
All right. I will say, I mean, I really got like no one who you guys haven't mentioned if they lose. How about Lane Johnson?
This game is really, running its course.
This is retire. Yeah, let's retire this. I'm glad to be naming my last one of the season, Lane Johnson.
I don't like this game.
Maybe you like everything. Listen, you got to start hating stuff. Join the fan base. They hate everything.
It's been over a year, Zach, on the podcast. You got to learn to hate.
Just cut loose. So I'll say Lane Johnson maybe gives up a key sack or two to Eric Armstead or whoever's rushing from that side.
So if the Eagles win on defense, I'm going Darius Slay. We haven't used him yet, correct?
Correct.
Big play.
So I could see what you guys mentioned. I did not think about it before. But maybe Slay is the one covering George Kittle. Perhaps the Eagles are doing that. They're not worried about the wide receivers here. They have Slay following Kittle, and that's what the plan is. And Slay does a good job against it. So Slay is the best player they have in their back seven right now. And if they win this game, we'll be talking about them.
All right, I have defense lose to close things out, and I will just take Rodney McLeod because.
Oh wow!
Rodney. Well, just because like there are only so many people who can make like really like glaring mistakes in which you just focus on one player, and the free safety is one of them. Like we're not going to be talking about Derek Barnett having a bad game. And we're probably not going to be talking about
maybe we should be
Cre'Von LeBlanc, like if or Trevor Williams. Like if Trevor Williams gives up a touchdown, it's not Trevor Williams' fault. It's the team for putting him out there. So I go Rodney McLeod.
By the way, you Bo, in your day after you were like ripping Zach Taylor a little bit. I totally agree. I've wanted to see something. I wanted to give Zach Taylor a free shot like last year. I'm like,
I want to like the guy.
And this year, I mean, that game, he's so conservative. Then how about the possession? If I were a Bengals writer, I would be going, it's overtime. They have a backup quarter in. Why are you targeting Darius Slay on 3 in
a row?
Plays?
They hadn't thrown at him all game.
That was great. That was of all the things that happened in the game, that might have been the craziest thing. I'm going, what are you doing right now? He shut down AJ Green the entire game. The game's on the line. They've got a backup corner in. Trevor Williams, Tyler Boyd's been eating everybody's lunch all game, and you're throwing at Darius Slay 3 in a row.
And then he takes that timeout at the end of overtime.
Yeah, that was weird.
Totally bizarre. I don't know what he was doing. And then like the next play, he lets it go. Like, so it was
it was very odd.
1 foot in and then pulling it right back out. It was very bizarre. And then like even in the first half, there was a 4th and inches they punted on.
There were a 4th and 2 punt and a 4th and 2 field goal in the red zone.
Yeah. What are you doing? You have no wins. You got this young quarterback. Like,
I agree. They're 0-11 in their last. They're 0-11 in one possession, or 0-10 winless in 11 one possession games with Taylor.
Bizarre.
That's
and
crazy.
then that Adam Gase field goal last night was just like the most cowardly thing you'll ever see.
Wow. Yeah. I'm a little worried about Z Burm's boy, Joe Burrow. I don't know. They might.
He could be going down the Darnold path.
Yeah. Okay.
If you guys had to guess, what percentage of snaps Trevor Williams played for the 2017 Chargers, what would you say?
He started He started like 9 games or something like that.
I didn't even know he was on the 2017
Yeah,
Chargers.
I'm gonna
so
guess.
Played
I'm gonna guess-
96%. He played 96% of the snaps.
Oh, wow.
96.
Yes, he was an every down
Wow.
player for them.
Oh,
And that's what Jim Schwartz had this great quote the other day. I mean, I don't know if it's applicable, but when he was talking about Trevor Williams, he said Trevor Williams probably looked at Schwartz being like, "What took you so long?" Because he has this experience. So
like he thinks he should be out there.
Yeah, like it's not like they're throwing out Michael Jacquet. You know, they're throwing out someone who's been in the
both not
league.
gonna like that. Okay.
Well, Trevor Williams, let's keep in mind how much the Eagles liked him. He was cut when they dropped the roster from 90 to 80. So that tells you how much they love Trevor. Now, part of that is because it makes sense because he's a veteran. You know who he is a little bit more than the rookies. You want to see the undrafted guys in person, but still, like that's.
But no one signed him.
That's
Correct.
what they thought of him. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Who's giving their pick? You want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I think this is going to be ugly. I think this is going to feel like rock bottom. It feels like when a team starts going downhill, I don't know. It always feels like there's like a nationally televised. Maybe this is just there's probably some type of bias I'm showing here, but it feels like there's a nationally televised game where they just get it handed to them and completely get blown out and outclassed, and everybody's just in an outrage the next day. I don't know that this version of the 49ers team, maybe they're not, good enough to do that, but I could just see it. I mean, I see nothing other than the Eagles defensive line. Again, that's the one thing I think that can keep them in this game. I think this is just going to be a blowout. I think the offense is a mess. I think Wentz is a mess. I think Peterson is a mess. He's got no one to throw to in this game. That 49ers defense still has a lot of good players. So I would say, Eagles fans, you want to, find your favorite local restaurant, do a little takeout or delivery around 6 o'clock, over order, eat your dinner 6, 7 o'clock, put that food in the fridge, get some ice cream or whatever your favorite dessert is, because I think around like 11 o'clock, you're going to want to go in there. You're going to want to just emotionally eat, pound the leftover pizza, whatever else is in there, help yourself to some dessert, wonder why you follow this team, wonder what's happened since 2017, wonder who should be fired, wonder if you have a quarterback or not. I've got 49ers 33, Eagles 14 in a game that is basically a blowout from start to finish.
So I will jump in here.
Happy Friday, as they say in the corporate world.
Look, I have a similar.
What would you know about the corporate world?
I don't know. Thankfully, nothing.
I have a similar sentiment to Sheil. The Niners are the better team. They are the hotter team, if you will. And I just think the injuries are bad right now for the Eagles. I don't have much faith in the way this coaching staff is coaching, and I don't have much faith in the way this roster is assembled. So, and frankly, the resiliency or the toughness that this team has talked about being a character trait in the past, I don't know if that's there this year, to be honest with you. You think they'll be
0-14-1 and still talking about how nobody believes in them?
Nobody believes in them. Yeah, exactly. And the only guys that matter are the guys in the locker room, right? Yeah. So I don't have it quite the blowout that Sheil does. I think that the defense will do some decent things. I think this interior defensive line can get to the quarterback. We saw that last week. So maybe they'll make some plays there. But I have 49ers 27, Eagles 17.
Okay. Now, one thing I will say is that the DraftKings line, let me make sure it's still the same thing here. It was 7, I believe. Earlier. Right now it is still 7, and so you can look at when a team is a 7-point underdog, like what is their chance to win based on sort of historical precedent. And for a 7-point underdog, it's at 24.8%. So I know I painted a bleak picture. Zach painted a bleak picture, but it's always good, I feel like, to look at the markets and to look at the line and to see what sort of the history says around it, so you can kind of paint them as a team that has a 25% chance to win.
So I actually don't feel the same way as you guys about this game. I'm not smelling the Niners quite as much. I think everybody's getting a little bit too ahead of themselves with Nick Mullins, who is, a mediocre quarterback and can turn the ball over. And I think this defense has some turnover regression, or progression coming their way. I'm like, they can't be worse against this run scheme than they were against the Rams. So I actually think the defense can be okay in this game. I think this is a winnable game for them, but there's no reason to believe that, they have some great game plan up their sleeve, because there would have been times for them to pull it out. Like, it's already been late in the season for the Eagles to turn things around right now, even though it's week 4. Like, if you had something special, you do it against the Rams or you do it against the Bengals. You need to win those games. The talent is poor. I think Carson Wentz will be a little bit better in this game. I think this will be a close game, but I'm not picking him. I'm not crazy. So I'm going to take the 49ers 23-21 on a last-second field goal by Robbie Gould. So, just enough to make you think the Eagles are not totally done, but they lose anyway.
I think I'm 0-3. 0-3 picking Eagles games this year. So maybe
none of us picked a tie. So
I know I'm picking.
You just mean against the spread.
Against the spread, yeah. So I have not had a handle on them at all. So maybe that's a good thing for Eagles fans.
Somebody did rightly call us out that we didn't go through the exercise of who we would be talking about if they tie. So
true.
Probably Doug Peterson again. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. For Zach and Sheila and Marissa, we'll talk to you after the game on Sunday, very early in the morning on Monday. And
my favorite kind of podcast.
I know that's right.
I'll be loopy.
That's the best kind of podcast. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for listening.
I'll say this. Ready for if they win this game, I'll join the post-game pod.
Oh.
Okay.
Fans are never going to root harder for the Eagles than they are this week.
It's a Sunday night game, so I have no excuse. Now I would like you guys to let's record before you don't have to write all your stuff first. But if they win this game, I'm in on the post-game pod.
I will double down on that. If they win this game and Sheila's joining the pod, we'll do it live on YouTube.
Oh,
so the fans
wait,
can
don't I have to agree to that?
Well, then it's got to be soon. Yeah. I think what happens is if they win,
can I wear my pajamas?
Yeah, absolutely. We can all. I'll throw on the joggers.
Yeah, Marissa, that's unfair to Marissa.
I think if they win, then I should while you guys are doing the press conference stuff, we should just start the live stream. I can come on, spew some stuff like a post-game show.
No.
You guys knock out how do you know? I might just email Marissa and say, let's get this going.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
There you go.
2 a.m. Who's going to be watching that?
The biggest stakes there have been yet for the Eagles, probably since the Super Bowl. I think it's fair to say. So there you go. For Zach and Sheila and Marissa, remember to subscribe to The Athletic, theathletic.com/birdswithfriends. It's still $1 a month right now. Hop on that bad boy. And as always, we love you.